Hi guys, it's Kamil here, and I'm coming to you with the first installment of The Lit Talk, a monthly talkative segment of WhatKamilReads. So today I'll have a chat with you and I'll talk a bit about my reading plans, what I'm currently reading, a few words on Man Booker Prize, Longlist, obviously, and the announcement of my second project, Dostoyevsky August. Let's start from the last one. I told you that I want this channel to become a bit of a reading project type of thing. As a side of book reviews, I'm not super keen on doing typical regular booktube things like book hauls, wrap-ups, etc. For now at least. And here's the link to the video where I talk about my first project that I started off with, and that one is about rereading books that I loved being in my late teenage years and early 20s. There's one book each month, and Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was the one for July. And being honest, I did not expect that I will have such a different take on a book that I loved when I was younger. Also a link to the video where I talk about Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest here. Then for August there's Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment as part of this project, but I decided to read and reread all the books by him that I own, and those are... This is Crime and Punishment, and this is The Idiot, both in beautiful Everyman's Library editions, and I have two translated into Polish, which are Demons and Brothers Karamazov. I was planning on picking up Brothers Karamazov since the beginning of this year, maybe even since the end of last year, and it didn't happen. So August is for Dostoevsky, and probably September too, judging by the size of those books. I plan on reading them in chronological order, so the Crime and Punishment will come first, then The Idiot, Demons and Brothers Karamazov. So you can see that Karamazovs again are in not very favorable position, but yeah, that's the order. So that closes the Dostoyevsky August part of this video. Now a bit about my to-be-reads. Over the course of this year, I'm reading and planning to continue reading non-fiction and fiction on race and Muslim world. As for the latter, Muslim world, this really varies and includes reportages on Caliphate and books on European perception of Muslim emigrants, then Islam and its perception from both sides, from devoted Muslims to those that left Islam seeing it as harmful religion. You know, or don't, probably don't. My view on religion is in general that it rather brings more harm than good, and it's not the problem of religion or something inextricably connected with it. It's rather our human tendency to internalize it so deeply that it turns into ideology. And then the division, us, the righteous ones, versus them, the infidels, opens. And here is where the problem starts. Because whenever I get into deeper conversation, even with the most loving and accepting religious person, doesn't matter the persuasion, be it a Catholic or Shia Muslim, almost every time at the end of it I found out that I'm in fault because I don't believe, and it would be better for me to believe. And here is where the threat and the problem starts and the whole craziness. Somebody believes they know what is better for me, you. And this is just one step away from totalitarian, authoritarian craziness. Of course the same goes for any ideology, but when it's rooted in the omnipresent creator of things, there's almost absolutely no place for a logical argumentation. I don't want to offend anybody religious, but that's my take on it. Anyways, getting back to the race books and books on Muslims. As for the latter, I'm more interested in social and political issues rather than Islam itself, but obviously the latter affects the former, so there's no escape from that. The few books that I bought to read aside of the ones that I already have are on race, Fatal Invasion, How Science, Politics and Big Business Recreated Race in the 21st Century, and this is by Dorothy Roberts. Then on migration, The New Odyssey, The Story of Europe's Refugee Crisis by Patrick Kingsley. The title says it all. And the third one that I'm probably the most excited about is The Muslims Are Coming by Arun Kundnani. Yes. This one is on Islamophobia, extremism and the domestic war on terror. You know, quite often when I mention non-fiction on this channel, especially, you know, this type of non-fiction, I get kudos for reading it, and people often say in their comments that it's too difficult or too laborious to read, and it often comes from very smart people based on their comments or based on the channels that they have here on BookTube. And of course it is for everybody. You have to make a commitment to read it. It's also, for me, much easier to pick up a novel or a memoir or even a reportage that is often built up nowadays like a thriller, and the book basically calls to you when you are back home. While in terms of those type of books, scientific non-fiction, you have in most cases called to the book. It's much less gracious. But is there anything worthwhile in life that is just pleasant and easy? Very little. So yes, that is a work, but paycheck is also there. Okay, after a bit of preaching, and sorry for that, I get to something that you probably are so tired of hearing about: Man Booker Longlist. I'm not going to go through the whole list of books. A few things only that I either thought about or reacted to watching other booktubers' videos, obviously on that topic. First, I don't mind the fact that the list is full of lesser known books. I don't mind that at all. I also don't mind that Alice Smith, that I love, is not long listed. I mean, isn't it exciting to hear about so many new books some people deemed worth picking up? And as for those some people, the Booker jury. I was excited picking up Snap, but it's pretty average novel with extremely worn out, idiotic and very irritating side motive of a pregnant woman not being able to make logical decisions, because that's what pregnant women do or not do. But what's great there are the kids' characters, and overall I enjoyed it for what it was, a crime novel. Nonetheless, if you pick up a genre novel to put it on the literary award list, your selection should be absolutely outstanding, and it's not. So overall that was very disappointing. Then to the graphic novel element and its most probable sponsor, Liane Shapton, a graphic novelist that is among the jury. I haven't read Sabrina by Nick Dranson yet, but I really hope that Snap situation will not repeat itself. And the book will be outstanding. I do not get the whole what is graphic novel doing on the list discussion, as graphic novel won Pulitzer Prize in 1992. Okay, that was a special award, I get it. But Mouse by Art Spiegelman won Pulitzer 25 years ago. Over 25 years ago, so I think we can live with Sabrina being on the long list, really. The rest of the jury crowd, Leo Robson, the cultural critic, Jacqueline Rose, the feminist, writer and the critic, and the philosopher Kwame Anthony Appiah. All of them work for me, and I think we should take out the stick from our asses and just chill. You know, I know that sometimes here on BookTube we think that we are the most suited to judge every award, not mentioning the literary ones, but come on, let those people work and see what comes out of it. And if you think that all that seems like a fishy moves is something particularly new, I'll get later on to that, or something very Booker-like, I can make a whole video about Pulitzer controversies. Not mentioning that sometimes Pulitzer also gives awards to very average books. I mean, Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Who's next? American version of Murakami? I mean, every award has its shades and controversies, and it's never clean as we would like it to be. Going back to Booker history and some fishy moves, I link a Guardian article that lists all of them. So in 1974, there were 3 judges, A.S. Byatt, Elizabeth Jane Howard, and Ion Trewin. Ending up by Kingsley Amis was on the shortlist, and guess what? Amis was a husband of Elizabeth Jane Howard back then. And for instance, regarding the selection and absence of some obvious choices this year, I read that often publishing houses would not enter some books in the expectation that they will be called in by the judges. But as some former judges would explain, pressure of time and books arriving very late makes it sometimes extremely hard to read even the books that you are expected to read that were already entered, and there is little time very often to call in some additional books. So those strategic moves by publishing houses result very often in those books not being among the selection. Another example, Sheena McKay, that Judge Booker Prize in 1999, the year where Disgrace won, said that being a judge gave her much more an anxiety than being on the shortlist, which she was on in 1996, I believe. As basically you are responsible for disappointing a lot of people. The pressure is high. That gets me to another point, the transparency. And although it's a very noble idea, I think Brita started it, to have all submitted books open for public to see, including those that were called in by the judges, I really am not sure if it's such a good solution. I don't like the idea of policing the judges of Booker Prize. I just don't see how anybody would agree to be a judge and then defend why they picked up Snap over Alice Smith. It just turns the whole awards for me into some administrative mechanism. And the next step would be to maybe make people decide, and we will end up with Twilight and Hunger Games winning years in a row. Now, coming down to what I'm currently reading. So let's talk about that, as it's also Booker related. And I'm actually listening to it while Milkman by Anna Burns, that's the book I want to talk about, is on my way in a physical form that I will definitely pick up, because it's a fantastic historical novel set in Northern Ireland that is built up like a dystopian fiction. Autocratic society following its strict set of rules of living in a closed and suffocating community with a very strongly established set of accepted behaviors, its own particular language, and a young girl picked up upon because of being different. She is reading while walking. And when the rumor starts about her having a romance with an older man, her life is turned upside down and attacked from all sides. If you didn't know the Northern Ireland history, or wasn't told that this book is about that, and is set in Northern Ireland during the conflict, you could easily read it as a dystopian novel. Dystopian novel on community oppression. I'm really loving it. And the Booker books I've ordered and planning on reading next are In Our Mad and Furious City by Guy Guarantin. This book is about Muslim immigrants, second generation I think of Muslim immigrants, torn between their culture and faith and trying to find a place in Western society. And this is obviously the reason why I'm picking this one up. Then I'm planning on reading Sabrina. I love good graphic novels. I already ordered The Water Cure, a debut novel by Sophie Mackintosh. This is also a dystopian or a book about cult, I'm not sure. Taking up topic of oppression of woman's body. And the last one I ordered is From a Low and Quiet Sea by Ryan Donnell. Due to overwhelming positive reviews here on BookTube as well, and all of them coming from the people I respect, and also the topic of the novel. 3 immigrants from Syria searching refuge in a small Irish town. Something very up my alley. Okay guys, let me know what you think about Booker, if you are not yet tired talking about it. Let me know what you are reading currently. Let me know if you're planning to join me in reading Dostoevsky in August. And let me know if you like this type of more chatty videos, and probably a bit all over the place. And I just realized that although I said that I'm a bit tired of doing standard BookTube things, I actually did them all in this video. So I had a bit of book haul, a bit of to be read as well. To be read. This is Dostoevsky thing. I was talking about what I'm currently reading. I did a small wrap-up in terms of Milkman by Anna Burns. So yeah, same old, right? Okay, talk to you soon. Have a great week that it's ahead of you. Bye bye.